Hello everyone, I'm Alice. Today we are going to talk about how to improve your marketing on social media. To do this, there are three important things you should bear in mind. The first, be open to trying new things, but do not fall off the bleeding edge. The second, bloggers have no boundaries. The third, bring a leader early. To understand what they are, we will discuss in detail in the next sections. The first thing to improve your marketing on social media is to be open trying new things, but do not fall off the bleeding edge. New technologies are important. They help us constantly reinvent ourselves. Innovations shape the internet as well as how many companies operate, and it can even lead to the evolution of an entire business model. One of my former bosses made a weekly habit of stopping by my desk and sending me an email saying, "Hey Alice, we need to implement this for a client." He did this because he'd read about it on TechCrunch, Slatdoor, or some other technologies blog that no longer exists. My co-worker and I could joke about this inevitable weekly debate and call it his SOS, or shiny object syndrome. It is all too easy to get drawn into the excitement of new technologies being built as the new Twitter or the new Facebook. It is especially easy when enough media or superstar hype surrounds a new company or technology. Understand how the tool enables its intended community to share and engage is essential to understand how it could possibly fit into the strategy. Early adopters can be both blessings and a curse, especially for new tools in social media. Early adopters who promote social media sites and tools can inadvertently cause a negative impact. If an early adopter has a huge audience and with a scope, sometimes the tool or site cannot handle the influx or the traffic and attention drawn to it. Often the site or tool is not ready for such an unanticipated rush of activity or adoption, and steadily either the site ceases to function or it becomes incredibly slow or unstable. If any of these consequences occurs, it can spell failure for both the site and for your own social media strategy. Although early adopters are great to follow for keeping an eye on what is emerging in the technologies or social media space, they are not the ones you should be following to find the best social media tools. Often you can find the best methods of engaging the audience by first listening to them and learning what sites and tools they use. Similar to those bell-bottom jeans my mother gave away when the fad wore off, but have since re-emerged as fashionable. Social media tools and sites can go through cycles. Communities go through ups and downs, new members join and old members leave without warning or explanation. If a major influencer within a community leaves, this absence can create a vacuum within the community. Without a key influencer to carry on relevant conversation or engage other members, some community members move to the new communities where they can find the sharing and the engagement they once had with the previous community. A similar experience can occur when a new sites become popular. Key influencers have the power to bring new members to a community. However, if a new social media site or tool cannot sustain the community, it becomes a fad and the community migrates back to what is familiar. This enlarges why it is important to study the social media audience. You must determine whether the audience you are trying to reach is a part of stable or sound social media community, or is a part of fad site that has popped up only recently. If you were relying on Twitter as the major piece of the social media strategy in 2007, you probably have pulled down a lot of your hair. Various surge in use and traffic in Twitter's network during summer 2007 through 2008 caused it to fail, resulting in users seeing inevitable fail whale. Thankfully, we rarely see the fail whale now. Even Michael Jackson died in June 2009, and high traffic slowed many news sites. Twitter users were not subjected to a single fail whale. However, when tools and sites fail repeatedly, a community can become frustrated and go in search of new social media tools to continue their conversations on. Plurk is one example. Plurk is similar to Twitter in a lot of ways, namely the 140 characters restriction on messages and the capability to send one message to all followers to see. When tweeters were falling on consistent basis, people went to Plurk to converse, engage, and share. Plurk was not having the issues that Twitter was having at that time because Plurk's audience was significantly smaller. Plurk benefited from the Twitter's fail whale by gaining community members for a short time. If you were a marketer during this time and saw the migration of users to Plurk, you might have been tempted to put all the resources with Plurk without doing any further investigation. Identifying when popular tunes or sites are falling and communities migrate to continue these conversations and engagement is just as important as supporting those technologies fast. It is important to research, watch, understand the audience and communities you want to engage for fast and technological issues that could drive them. To temporarily seek out other modes of communication, sharing, and engagement. Being on the edge of these new social media tools is definitely a cool and fun place to be if you are a marketer implementing a social media strategy for the company. However, the bleeding edge is not a fun place to hang out. If you fall off that edge, you can really hurt the company, especially if the entire marketing budget for social media has been invested in something that does not take off. Taking the time to investigate, research, and understand the new tools and how the audience will potentially use them can prevent you from falling off the bleeding edge. Community members can adapt tools and use them the way they were intended for use by its creators, or they can adapt the tools to use them in ways that better suit their needs. It is vital to the strategy to understand how communities has adapted to using these new tools so that the strategy can implement them in the same way and thus engage the community. Secondly, to improve the marketing on social media, you should remember that bloggers have no boundaries. Bloggers can be the most passionate community members out there. These are actively engaged members of community, and they can be your best brand evangelist or the most PR nightmare. Bloggers do not have to follow any rules or other than their own moral compasses. It is safe to say that most bloggers are not paid journalists. Journalists have a code of ethics that may abide by. Rules handed down by the publication they work for, as well as advertisers the company has to worry about, and generally a fact-finding and verification process is in place. Journalists also have a chain of command they have to answer to. From the editor of the publication to the owner, to the advertiser, and finally to the publication's audience, journalists are paid to please a lot of people. Most of journalists are educated in journalism and a related field. They have gone through internships, started on wanted bits, and moved their way up until they are finally writing what they love. Most bloggers, on the other hand, started down this road because they have been passionate about something. They did not plan a real strategy when they started their blogs. They just wanted to share their experiences with the world, and a blog gave them opportunity to do so. If you think it will be easy to get bloggers to write about you just because you email them, you might want to rethink about the strategy. Bloggers are very aware of the power of their words. Bloggers understand that words can influence not only the current audience, but also the future audiences. Bloggers also know that they have influence over other bloggers in their community. One of their posts can be furthered by another blogger, and thus give them potential to influence the whole audience with their experiences and information. If a blogger has several blogs or guest blogs on other blogs, the potential sphere of influence increases and the audience for the blogger increases. Bloggers jump up the opportunity to guest blog because it increases their sphere of influence and the power of their words to affect an audience. Oh, that blog does not matter. It has only 5 subscribers. If I had $1 for every time and I have heard something similar, I'd be a bit richer. The number of subscribers a blog has displayed is irrelevant to the power the blog has. The blog could have just 5 subscribers, but if the subscribers are family members or a journalist from the New York Times, the potential for a damaging situation is great. This is why relying solely on how many subscribers a blog has displayed is a bad marketing strategy in deciding whether to engage a blogger and build a relationship. One of the worst ways to start with professional bloggers is to tell them how much you love this blog. You probably do not realize how many times a week marketers email bloggers and proclaim to them that how much they love this blog. Bloggers find this type of command like insulting, especially after they look at the title of the signatures and see Director of Marketing or Social Media Guru. They know perfectly well that they are trying to flatter them to get them to talk about you and your product. Instead of emailing the blogger and starting off with, "I really love the blog," trying to say, "I really was interested by this piece of content you wrote," and including the link to the public's post. This shows you have actually read the blog. That word shows a lot more interest than false flattery, which a blogger really does not need. Bloggers will know if you do not take the time to actually understand them. If you just read a few blog posts and did not bother to read through the conversations happening between bloggers and their audience in the comments, you are doing the self and the blogger you want to approach an injustice. The name of the blog is not only a relevant piece of information. The most recent blog post or the blog post ranking for your keywords give you clue in understanding what drives the blogger to continue producing content. Just finding a blog you think you want to engage with and sending an email saying, "Hey, we want you to try our stuff," will get your email moved to delete folder. If you can start to build a relationship with a blogger in several ways before you send an email. Start by reading the blog every day. If you find a blog post that really interests you or spark your interest, comment on them. When you have got a good base of conversations going with the blogger through comments, send an email asking if she would like to be considered for future efforts with the company in gaining insight and feedback into your company's products or services. Taking this route helps strengthen the relationship you have been building with the blogger. Although it may take some time to initially establish the relationship with a blogger, you likely will gain a serious ally for your future efforts. Only after you have established the relationship through transparent and upfront means can the magic really begin when working with bloggers. Bloggers are a powerful community when they unite a common good. When word spreads from one blogger to another at the speed of light, it does not matter how much physical distance is between the bloggers. They go to work in the virtual world to share with all their audiences, to spread the word of what is going and how it affects them personally. Finally, give a leader link love. Give a link back to the web page or site you are referencing without expecting them to link back to you, where it is appropriate and does not seem like to fake flattery. Recognizing bloggers for their efforts by adding a link to them in their own company's blog, publications, newsletter, or static website is a great resource on a particular subject can go a long way with a blogger. Bloggers are very aware of who is linking to them. Most likely, they will come to their own blog or website to see how and why you are linking to them. It can also get bloggers looking into more of the company's content on this website to see how they can integrate more of the information with theirs. Thus, it's a good sign that you are building the foundation for a great relationship with a blogger. Finally, nothing can stop a great social media strategist faster than a lawyer within a stack of documents telling you why you cannot talk about this or upload that. Of course, the legal is there to protect the company. The legal team probably reviews the traditional marketing pieces before they are released to the public. The social media interaction generally happens without the benefit of prior legal consult. The legal department is not out to ruin the fun of the creative social media strategy. If you take early steps to invite the members of the legal department to join the conversation about the social media strategy, you may find yourself very thankful you did so. If you ask the right questions and tell legal personnel that what you are attempting to do, they can help guide you in how to put together the strategies without getting the company into a heap of legal trouble. Having the lawyers involved in the process from the beginning is not just a wise move, it also can be a tremendous cost saver. Social media is a vast new area of the internet that a lot of legal teams know little or nothing about. You should teach team members about the different kinds of social media. Taking the time to educate the legal teams, have them get a better handle on what exactly they are dealing with when it comes to the social media strategy. If you explain the benefits the company will reap from participating in social media, the legal team will be more willing to assist you and will be less likely to just say no. However, if the harm outweighs the benefits, the legal needs to step up and steer the company away from the potentially harmful situation. This is not only their job, but ethically, it is their duty. Working with the legal team to develop and streamline the process of getting things approved before you start actively engaging in social media. It is the best to include legal as a part of the social media team from the beginning. When you include legal as an essential part of the team, personnel will be a lot more than willing to propose alternatives to strategies that could get you into trouble. The lawyers will be able to spot proposed strategies that could be legally problematic and set you on the right path before you expend the time, energies, and money on the strategy that could land you in legal hot water. If you know that you need legal approval before you launch or participate in anything that is remotely marketing related, you can better plan the social media strategy accordingly. If legal needs to approve your blog post first, work with the department to develop a smooth and easy way for both of you to approve this post, especially if you expect to post every day. Work with the legal team on a comment policy that defines what can be approved and what can be addressed in comments, as well as what needs to be held for legal review. That will keep your conversations fresh and active to make the content relevant to what is going on in the world and your industry. Because social media is more about what is going on now. It is important that you create a smooth channel to review and approval to keep those active conversations going in the safest way possible. Whether it is trackback or a comment policy for your blog, how your employees speak to consumers in social media forums, or what happens when employees are active in social media sites outside their normal work hours, you need to have legal involved. Always have a contingency plan in case something goes wrong, especially in social media. This is important because in social media, great potential exists for something bad to spread across the globe in seconds. Legal can help you with these types of contingency plans. Legal understand the workings of the legal system. If you are a global company, you're likely to have people on the own team who understand the legal system of different countries. Consult with them to develop a plan to address issues when things go wrong with the social media marketing strategies. The legal team is keen enough to know what kind of actions the company must take in different types of scenarios. As stressed before, the legal team is aware of and extremely skilled in knowing what action to take for different situations that arise. So make sure that the legal personnel are involved in any contingency plans you are developing. Having these type of plans in place when something goes wrong saves a lot of headaches and heartaches when all the dust settles. It also keeps the company from reacting with finger and possibly doing something that will result in more trouble than you originally were in. Smaller companies might not have the luxury of the entire legal team or even any legal staff. If the company has just a small legal staff, it is the best course of action a line of everything you need and then have the legal counsel review the documents, policies, and plans to ensure that you are following a path that will keep the company out of legal trouble. Legal representations whatsoever. It might be worth that the expense to have outside counsel review your plans and have deal with legal issues as they come up. Whenever you are dealing with policies, especially those that deal with employees' conduct, make sure the legal counsel reviews exactly what those policies mean. Dealing with legal might sound scary to entering the social media space. Do not think of it that way. Think of legal as the partner to help steer you on the right path. The legal team ultimately wants you to be as successful as possible in the marketing efforts while staying on the right side of the law. So it is all about the class today. I hope after class you can know some basic ideas how to improve your marketing on social media. Thank you for listening.